Okay, so today is 27th of April, last week of this month. Now, this is super boring because it has been moving sideways, and that is kind of a part of the game, I would say. Not something, not something we would like to see, but that's how it is. On a, I would say longer consolidation is always good when it breaks out on the upside. And it's equally the opposite when it goes down because the longer the consolidation, the bigger the momentum or longer the momentum in that direction of the breakout. Right now, I would weigh more on the upside breakout. That's why we have this circle. Only thing is because of this particular move that you see with my arrow, I'm pointing out, it has delayed this breakout. Nevertheless, this dip is not something uh, deep enough which is concerning. I would say if it consolidates near this one, then it's bad. Then it's bad. Then I think then we have to prepare something for which we are not ready with mentally, right? However, that is not happening, right? So this drop, especially this bounce, was encouraging. Then okay, this is new low on a very small time frame. However, this is getting better now. This bounce is very good. And so as I said, unless it consolidates here, this is all good. Only the boring part is the delay, right? So I would say, what is next? So definitely this bounce has to extend all the way to this orange line and likely to hit this white line. Okay. Or I would say in this region, which is 69K region, roughly speaking. Um, if you ask me, even if it crosses 68K, that is good enough. This 69K is more on the conservative side, which is fine because there are a lot of rejections in recent. If you look at this one, this one, this one, so I would like to see price sitting somewhere here. If it can close daily close at this level, then very high probability, near certainty that it'll go on the upside, and then everything is good. And then the entire consolidation will help pushing the price on the upside. So I think it's time to just wait and watch, I would say, as far as BTC is concerned, because levels are not broken on either side. And sometimes it's more like, free break time. And sometimes, this is the time where people try to do a lot and end up making mistakes, do a lot of in and outs and all. But once they understand the structure, the boundaries, they wouldn't do it. They understand that this is like, as I said, break time means do nothing kind of a time where we have to just sit tight. Of course, we have to watch where on the what side it is consolidating, as I said earlier, on the upper side or downside. Right now, it's more like a neutral going just sideways, and this is um, very kind of normal kind of behavior. There's nothing abnormal in this one. As I said, only the boring part is it's just happening for a long time. That's it. Now we have to also understand that this reaction was also because there were key data coming in, like GDP data in the US and the PCE data, which is one of the two inflation data points. Like one is CPI and another is PCE. And the Fed's favorite is PCE, as far as I understand, especially core PCE. Now, yesterday we got those data, and month over month is as expected. Year over year is 0.1%, so 10 basis point higher, but not something crazy. That's why the stock market actually went up. Uh, Now the FOMC meeting is going to happen 29, 28, the 29th or 30th. So we'll get more clarity. But definitely the stock market was very positive yesterday on a week closing. And before that, some traders or, short-term speculators would sell and put pressure on the downside because they don't know what kind of data might come up in those results. I mean, monthly data. And when the data comes up, they kind of, celebrate. I mean, if you look at the big picture, there is nothing to celebrate though, but it's not the worst thing happening. Like inflation rate hasn't gone down. It's steady and sticky, but it is not crazy like 4% or higher. So that's why the market is saying, okay, fine. I mean, it's not a rosy picture. There's no rosy picture there, but it's not the worst thing. And that's what. So if the inflation keep rising and goes above 4%, we know from a macroeconomic point of view, then the pressure would come on Fed again and so on. So we'll see when it happens. I don't think I don't assume a lot, but we have if else condition. If this happens, this is my action, else this is my action. So that is very simple. Condition one, action A. Condition two, action B. So if we have conditions defined with associated action, then the life is easy. Then it's just validating which condition has met and then execute that plan. And this is the best time to do this because there's no crazy movement, and and when the market is going sideways like this, it allows us to think how should we plan and all. Of course, I'm talking about BTC. Each coin has different tendency, and when we go to other alts, we'll see them, but the focus has to be BTC. As you know, it's a driver. Even if alt go down, which they do more often, and but if the BTC is healthy, they eventually recover. That's what we see. I'm not talking about all 7,000. We are talking about our list because we try to keep lists where the trend is intact. We throw away any coin which breaks the trend, right? So even if any alt go down deeper, of course it hurts, but because BTC is fine and that alt hasn't broken trend, combination of both, then eventually that coin recovers. That's the whole idea. So when you have some coin which has deeper correction, like we have seen deeper correction for some of the quality coins, even 50% is not easy. It's like a mini bear cycle, to be honest. 50% is no joke. 60%, some coins had 60% last week we saw. It's not easy. It's like huge, I mean, huge corrosion. It's like it takes away profit, it takes away, sometime investment. Uh, so it's challenging for sure, but we have best practices to counter that, to manage, I would say, those kind of situation. So we have tools and techniques available to deal with this kind of situation. My point is, when you deal with alts, that these kind of mini cycles during the bull run is very common. So one has to learn money management, position allocation, not just, you know, percentage based stops or low based stops and all, because they may not work. You need much more, and we have all those tools and techniques available on um our server, and I'm available on this weekly call. So there is always opportunity for you to come and join and ask question, right? If there is any confusion. But the market, see, making money, if it is very easy, then everybody would be wealthy. Let me put it in a very simple word. I mean, it it would have some challenges for sure, right? Otherwise, everybody would be making money. It cannot be so easy that you put money and it will start growing like crazy. So one has to understand how much should be the BTC part, how much should be the alt part, within the alt part, which alt is, that those kind of selection is very important. One has to know what is my risk appetite, what is aggressive in my, because the definition of aggressive portfolio is different for everyone. Somebody has spare money, so that person can take more risk. Somebody has very limited amount, and that money is very important. Then that person has to take risk appropriately. So that's why, I mean, T kind of a service can provide education, but cannot, go at a personal level. But if anyone is interested at a personal level, I do offer. Yeah, but then you have to contact me separately. Anyway, so coming back to BTC, when I look at BTC, I said, okay, there's nothing wrong in this consolidation. I would like to see price above 68K, ideally 69K, then I'll feel good. At this moment, I have to be watchful if I'm a trader or investor. That's it. Uh, one day, let's see what one day shows. One day shows the same pattern, more clarity, I would say, where I could see this bigger one testing this low and then a rise. Then this rise has this retracement. So if I may extend, then I would see this kind of pattern, something like this. So maybe I don't mind depicting like this at this moment. We'll see. If anything changes, I may have to do changes. But at this moment, let me draw this kind of. So this is like this is the recovery path. Um, it will be zigzag. It's not going to be straight line. This is just a directional, I would say. Otherwise, it is going to be like up and then down and up and that kind of a thing. But eventually, so angle could be like this, practically. I'm talking about average, mean angle could be potentially this. So somewhere in first week of May, we should be able to see price breaking out on the upside. Looking at the structure at this moment. If structure changes, the projection changes. As you know, like if you're going from point A to point B, if you're driving, and let's say something you are not aware and happens, right? Some major traffic jam or some like bridges in the construction and you have to detour. So what happens is point A to point B doesn't change because that's your destiny, let's say, and compare point B is the next price level. So the point B doesn't change, but what changes is the time duration, because now the path has changed because of the detour, the structure changed. So that's what happens. So if anything unforeseen happens, the delay adds up. I mean, it, and we have to change the path and trajectory. So on x-axis we have time, this x-axis we have time, and y-axis we have price. So when it makes some move on the downside, it adds up delay. That means it takes longer time. However, it doesn't change the point B. If this is point A, this is point B, the angle of the wave could change. Basically the path could change. So the focus is not the path. The focus is the direction. And of course, we try to assess the timeline as well, but timeline cannot be set in stone. Timeline has to be flexible based on the pattern it is building. For an example, if this is bouncing and if this is V-shaped kind of a recovery, and if this would have continued on upside, this breakout would have happened. This breakout would have happened somewhere here. But because of this downside move, it adds delay by few days. That's what I mean. And if something like this continues to happen, then it will continue to add delay and so on. And if it breaks below, just in case, I'm saying hypothetically for now, then it adds even more delay. That's what happens. So And sometimes the delay can be at a cycle level. You know what I'm saying? So let me explain what I mean. So this level is no actually not something new. This level was the level from November 2021, let's say, or you can say October, November 2021. So this level is not new, right? So we can say that because the breakout on the upside failed over here, which is like a double top situation, right? So this level is also April 2021. So we can say current level is 2021 level, right? So we are revisiting this level. So what all this time that was spent, we can say now 3 years. Why? Because April, this level, we were at this level in April 2021, and this is April 2024. Because of all this delay, it took time for us to return back to this level, and that is 3 years. Not a short duration, it's a long bear phase, so to speak, or you can say recovery path. So that's what happened. So now in this case, the this is whole entire downside move we call bear trend, and then this is whole entire recovery, path. So when you look at this without any drawing, simply put, this is delay we are talking about. This is 3 week of delay. I'm talking about larger pattern, but the fundamental understanding is the same, right? When the drop is small, the delay is small. When the drop is deep like this at a cycle level, right, then the duration of this delay, however, the trajectory doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? So here, if you think that the Bitcoin is dead, that's mistake. You have to see what level it breaches. So for an example, 15K was not the level where one should be concerned. Now, how would we know? It requires measurement. It requires technical analysis skill. So TA would tell, of course, different TA would tell different level. That's not the point. But you have to then think about who is more consistent and reliable that way. So only the time will tell that who is more consistent. So that's how it is. It's a comparative, and not necessarily all TAs are right every time. It's always an attempt from everyone, but we look for someone who is consistent. So the TA would tell basically that which level should not be broken for it to recover. So we called out this bottom, we know, right? Now, that means potentially we were talking about recovery. Again, how much time will it take? We don't know, but we can see that this is a kind of a counter trend. Like this is downtrend and this is counter. You can see this is like a mirror image. If you draw a straight line in the middle, if you draw a straight line in the middle like this, what you're seeing is that this is a mirror image. On the right hand side, this is a mirror image of this one. Of course, not each and every turn and a drop and a bounce is not going to be identical like a mirror image, but you get a gist of it, right? You get an idea that the whole entire move that we have seen so far since, let's say, January 2023, where December being the bottom, right? This is the whole entire recovery is a mirror image. So we can say we are back to 2021 level. Now, if it is consolidating at this level, it is not a point of concern by any mean, unless someone wants it to be, you know, unless someone wants to be concerned. And some people are calling out triple top and all. Now, let me, I'm hearing a lot of things. Uh, nobody, we should not criticize someone. First of all, we should not say he's wrong or I disagree and all. You can have, okay, I would say this is the way I put is this is what I believe in. I don't even call I disagree and all, because who you are to say I'm disagreeing? You are not authority. You are not a fortune teller who would say I disagree. Okay, I disagree, but that's more rude behavior, I would say. And I think everybody should share their opinion, provide justification, and then market will tell who is right or wrong. Okay, that's how I put. So uh, when it consolidates like this, let me hide drawings again. When it consolidates like this, why it is a point of concern? Now somebody is saying this is similar to this one, let it be. But because we know that which level is important for us to monitor or take action, so to speak. It's not that we are unaware, but that's about the preparation. It's about, as I said earlier, that if this condition C1 is triggered, I'm going to execute plan A. If condition C2 is triggered, I'm going to execute plan B. Now, where there is no confusion in this kind of approach, very pragmatic and practical approach in my point of view. So when there is no bias, it is rule-based execution, right? So taking side or especially criticizing is not something one should do, in my opinion. One should just say, this is my opinion. But anyway, that's how it is. People do react differently, and I think we have to, it tells that character, I would say, nothing more. So when it takes time, I see no problem in it. If it breaks, I would say, okay, then I would watch. I'm just purposefully taking the scenario breakdown. I, again, clarification. I don't see breakdown at this moment, but just for sake of discussion. Then also there is enough space on the downside. Think about it. When it comes down, do you think that when it comes down here, you would call that this is going to hit 15K? No, you cannot. It doesn't make sense. But when it breaks this kind of a level, then you have to. So even this level is not called. You may say this is a potential top, but you cannot say it is going to hit 15K. I mean, one can guess, and then one, can be right about it. But technically speaking, how can you say that this level is going to hit 15K? You cannot. Okay. So when this kind of a major consolidation breaks and this kind of trend line is broken, then we can say this is a super critical phase. So for this one, you, even if this structure is broken, you know, there is no way one can say this particular attempt is going to fail and going to go deeper. There is no way to say, technically speaking. Yes, one can guess, and there is no way one can one can be proven right if it continues to go down. But that's not how it works. That's more of a guesswork, I would say. So in short, what I'm trying to say, this consolidation is healthy. And even if it breaks down hypothetically at this moment, okay, there is enough room as far as the trend is concerned. Okay. And on a weekly call, I'll keep you posted if there is any threat to this level. And sometime, some unforeseen event occurs, and that they kind of delay breakouts and the progress, right? You are healthy, you get infection, you're down, and that affects your work, and then it slows down and delays your deliveries and all those, and basically. um but it doesn't change the trajectory, the goal. That's how it is. So we can say, though, because of the inflation and the Fed's policy change, we or Bitcoin added 3 years of delay, simply put. Okay. So we can say we are back where we were in 2021. This is different way of explaining the same thing, you know. And this is not about pacifying someone or, mm, or cool down someone. This is analysis from different perspective point of view. So when you do analysis, you focus on the local setup, then you zoom out and then focus on the trend and the recent, consolidation and all. Then you zoom out even further and then talk about what I just talked about. And in fact, you zoom out even further on a higher time frame and see how overall things look like. I yesterday on X I posted Peter's. I'm not sure if you have seen it, but he's basically talking about exponential decay. Now everybody has a right to express as I meant, um, but if you differ, you can counter argue, not like a challenge, but put across your thought. And that's what I did yesterday, if you have noticed. So he basically he's calling something we talked about few months ago, the rounding top. Each cycle is getting shorter and all, right? We had discussed that. So he was talking about that. And based on that, he thinks that this height is actually the ultimate height where this is it. Means he's talking about end of 13 years of trend. Uh, And we talked about this earlier. And we'll talk about this when the time comes. That's my point of view. That scenario is possible, but not probable. Important thing is it's not, you don't focus on possibilities, because possibilities depends on your creativity. There are endless possibilities, but then you have to give probability to each possibility and say which one has the higher probability, and the higher probable scenario or possibility gets the score, and you have to stick to that higher probability scenario. Otherwise, how can you make decision if there are multiple possibilities? How would you choose it? You don't choose based on your bias. You choose based on some calculations, by some mean where you calculate a probability and come up with that probable scenario. And that's where different TAs differ, right? Because there's so many patterns, there's so many paths, so many possibilities, but the TA has to select one that is likely to be the right one, likely to be. And if it is proven right, then we can say that TA's analysis worked. And if that happens again and again, then we can say that TA is reliable, not necessarily right all the times, but we can say reliable or consistent. Anyway, so right now at this phase, there are a lot of people coming up with different ideas, which is good. And we'll see who prevails. So this it this kind of consolidation is a test of character as a trader, not character like personal character, but a trader, and mental test and all, psychological, how one can cope up. And more the knowledge, more the experience one gathers, um, and I think is the best friend. I always say that. So you get that kind of confidence once you believe, not believe in terms of hyper, I mean, believe just for sake of believing, but based on the real data, based on the recent past and achievement, then you start believing it, not like believing on some belief system where somebody is believing because my father used to believe, my mother used to believe, my society used to believe, that's why I'm believing. Not that kind of believing something based on my own experience. That's what I mean. I'm believing in TA because I have experience. So that makes the life easier compared to not having this kind of a tool or information. That's what I mean. So my TA indicating that uh, this is the time of patience because it is moving sideways. Everything looks healthy. We have recovered last 3 years of loss, and we are back to where we were in 2021. So it's a level of it's a point of celebration in my point of view. Let's go for weekly now, and what it is now. Now it is little lower, but it's, as I said, I mean, this can be little adjusted like that. It's just circle is indicative, but yes, we have to keep on watching. This is larger pattern. I think I explained earlier that this is detour. and this is bigger detour because of Fed's policy. The trend in my book actually started here, but I purposefully split this one and this one because this drop was more than 50%. So usually then I would say, okay, this is new cycle. But if you ask me, there was one cycle, not on this Coinbase chart, and then there were two cycles not here in this Coinbase. It's on Bitstamp. I think Bitstamp has one missing. Bitstamp doesn't have 29, so it doesn't have it here. On BLX, I would have it. Yeah. So this is what Peter is talking about. You know, rounding top or exponential decay. Uh, I'll explain briefly. Basically, this is the first one, second one, third one, but I call this as the fourth one. But anyway, we can split this as fourth, and then this is fifth. No, it doesn't matter. So since we talked about it, and it's also month end, maybe I'll just touch base this one. I'll skip weekly on this one and go for monthly for clarity. When you track this one, what is exponential decay that Peter was talking about? That it's just a different name. Sometimes people come up with fancy names, but basically it's like this is we talked about this. You see these lines, this is steepest, and then the angle changes 57 degree, right? And then this is 39 degree, and this is 18 degree. So what is happening? The height, the steepness of this wave. So this is exponential growth, and then another exponential growth, but not at the same angle as before, slower. So that is called decay. So it is exponential, but there is decay, means it is not as aggressive as before. That's essentially the meaning. So based on that theory, when it happens, you see that this curvature is created. It's rounding top, but not necessarily rounding top is realized or called out unless certain level is broken. That's my point. Because I can extend this rounding top beyond. Because for an example, if you like do this, then you call out rounding top and this top. And who in the world can stop you doing this? You can. But who in the world can stop you doing this? No one. So how would you know which one is right? That's the whole idea. So the point is, if I say it's likely to go up, and if it does, that means you are right. If somebody says no, this is the top and goes down, then he's right. Right. Ultimately, right and wrong kind of a debate is useless. I'll tell you why. Because what matters in the end is how much money you end up making in the cycle. I'm not talking about 1 month, 2 month, 3 months of period. I'm talking about the cycle level, right? So at the end of the bull run, have you made money? I'm not saying full, like maximized, but are you profitable? If you are profitable, then it is you won, kind of, or you are right. So it's not about right and wrong at each and every consolidation, each and every math. Ultimately, your portfolio should go up year over year, not in a month horizon or 2 months, 4 months. Sometimes you make mistake, and it happens. Sometimes you are profitable, you make mistake, it goes down, and it's part of the game. But you have to say year over year. How is it growing? Not compared to someone, right? But to your own performance from the last year, is it grow? And it should grow more than your stock portfolio, because stock portfolio is the fastest among all asset classes. Now crypto is even faster. So my comparison would be with a stock portfolio. If it is growing faster than stock portfolio year over year, my goal is achieved, to be honest. That's it. Then anything on top of it is bonus. That's how I see. And I think this kind of mindset helps. When someone has expectation, like kind of a dream and all, it hurts more than help. Okay. So again, it's very individual. I'm sharing my point of view. coming back to this one, so this is exponential decay that he's talking about. But as I explained, you cannot call out this as the top by I shown with by changing the band or the curvature of the yellow arch, right? So that's why you cannot say but you can, if this goes down and probably 40K, if it is broken, then we can say it's a serious problem and likely to come down even further. But still it has to break this kind of a structure. I would say this kind of a structure has to be broken, which is 30K or something. Then you can say now, yes, because when you call out a pattern which is 13, 14 years long, you cannot just call out at the very top. I mean, it's like playing God that I know this is the top of 14 years cycle. And I think there is some kind of arrogance, if not intended, but it seems like as I said, playing God kind of a, you know, I know what is the top of whole entire cycle, that kind of a thing. So that's my point of view. So this at a cycle level, there is a certain level where if this is the cycle and this is the level where it should not be broken, otherwise it will go deeper, right? So when we talk about this bull run, let's say, then we can say, okay, this is important level, 30K range is important. If it is broken, then it goes deeper, and it happens. But when, so this is about this cycle. But when you talk about 14 years of cycle as a single unit, you have to have certain level. You cannot just say that it is likely to break down here. So that's my point. So I'm giving my justification by data points. So when you talk about 14 years of cycle, it has to break 40K and ultimately 30K. Then we can say, if that happens, then 14 years of bull run. Because let me explain you what I mean. See, when you go for this kind of a time frame, like 12 months of time frame, right? Then this whole entire wave is bull run. Because then you can say this, all that the bear cycle that we talked about is just one candle. It's just one candle, interim candles. So you see, when you change the time frame, it changes everything. If you change the time frame like this, nobody can say there was a bear trend or downtrend. How can you? There's no way. When you look at this chart at a 12 months, which is allowed, why not? Can anyone say there was a bear trend? Of course not. So you see, all the bear trends or bull trends, are very subjective to time frame you choose. When you choose lower, you are going to see more and more frequency of those kind of phases. When you go higher and higher, you're not going to see that much. So this is very important. These concepts are important and it can be explained only with technical analysis, not by fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis, there's no way to explain. There's no way to explain this. Okay, so when I track at 12 months, this is like tiny blip. There's nothing, there's no bear trend. So we can simply say this is going through bull run since inception. Now, if somebody's saying this is top, it I can't believe it. It has to break. Let's say it has to make yearly low, first of all, means it has to go down 40K. That's why my 40K number comes, right? So the opening was 42 for this year. So I would say at least it should break 40K. Then I would say there is something risky. But then it has to break 30K, which is like, okay, if you don't want to wait until this low to be broken, okay, you can call out at 30K, below 30K. Then it makes sense that this is a real danger for this whole entire movement. And if that is broken, then you can talk about 3K level. if the 30K, and then finally 15K has to be broken for confirmation. You can call out below 30K, you can call out below 40K as a warning, and you can call out the 14 years down cycle below 30K, and then you get confirmation below 15K, right? Then you can have projection that it is going for 3K. You see, so many steps. How can you skip all these steps? It doesn't make sense. As if you know it is going to break 40K, as if you know that it's going to break 30K, as if you know it's going to get. Is it going to go 3K overnight? No way. Only one probability, which is far-fetched, which is like real Satoshi comes and say, I don't I don't believe in BTC. It's not happening. It hasn't happened. It is not happening. But that's the only possibility, real possibility. Then forget about 3K. Then I won't even care about 3K, because then if Satoshi comes and say, I have better solution, then even 3K doesn't matter, because then this chain is useless. Yeah, why? I'm personally speaking, I would go with Satoshi if he's offering something better. So anyway, that is a different topic. I don't want to bring in, and don't assume that Craig is Satoshi and all, because anyone who claims has to prove it. But if someone proves, of course, I mean, uh, if Satoshi started and Satoshi says the BTC is crap, I will go with Satoshi. It's logical. There's no brainer. Anyway, so coming back to TA, you see, this is my point, that if somebody is calling out 14 years of trend as a then I think he is dreaming something. It doesn't make sense. And we have justification, not not because I'm biased on the upside. Okay, so let's come back to weekly. So the weekly is definitely right now showing some pressure, but it is well within the boundary, and we have to keep watching the edge as we discussed. So I think you got that point. And larger pattern, we don't have to discuss. We ended up discussing something, because yesterday I responded, so I ended up something bigger than even monthly pattern. Actually, the monthly pattern is this magical line, and that's what I would discuss, that this should not be broken and all. But we ended up discussing everything, so I don't need to. And if you in fact 30K number that I talked about, let's see, if you project like this, then also you get 32, which is roughly 30K. This orange line is 30K. See, then it's a real trouble. There's so much to travel, so much distance to cover. You know what? When it was going down, this was the real probability. I'm not saying high probability, but if this would have broken, then what would have happened, could have happened actually, that this would have created a left hand shoulder. This would have then created head. This would have created a right shoulder, and then it would have broken down, and then it could have gone down deeper and retested this 3K level. I'm telling you. But even this had to cover this much of distance and break 20K, for an example, close below 20K. Then this could have gone down deeper. This bounce from here, avoid that possibility. Now if so, I cannot say that's going to happen at this level. No way. So that's my justification. Anyway, so I think this is good enough for BTC, and I covered everything. So I don't think I have left any scenario there. Let's look at DXY. So DXY is still in the box. As long as it's in the box, it's contained. If it is out of the box, it's out of control, and that's a risk for BTC. And we'll have to see BTC's reaction to it, not assumption. This is based on the historical data. It's not that this comes out, that means BTC is dead. I said risk for. I didn't say BTC would crash. There's a difference in language. You have to focus on the language. I said pressure on BTC. See, pressure. There's pressure, but it's not that crash. So I talk about risk, potential risk, right? Risk. So we have to watch out kind of a situation in that. So the choice of words are very important. It's very important. So anyway, so if we, but ideally we would like this guy to be inside or below. It should be coming down. You know, it's very sticky. It's applying pressure at this moment. Anyway, so this is good. I mean, contain BTC dominance is coming down. I think this has hit resistance. Looks like now we'll look at different altcoin. APT is consolidating. Um, Not a problem. This is the path. There's no change. If it goes below, this arrow goes down. I mean, this way we'll have to rethink. As long as it's above the support, this is the path. BSV is holding up. There's no issue. I'll keep it. I'll keep it for a while. It's not dead, and I'm not sure why it's not dead. So I want to find out. Doge is still here. So Doge is applying pressure, but this is critical support. As long as it's above this, it's okay. But yeah, I mean, under pressure for sure. Ethereum is doing good, stronger. It's holding up nicely, and it's actually positive today. Yes, good. FET is still flat. So this is the biggest candle. Anything underneath is like kind of a child, child candle. Filecoin is not ready. I mean, it has to break above, so it's under pressure. So Doge, Filecoin, we can say they are weak. FTM is fine. It's holding up nicely. No crazy candle there. INJ showing some pressure, but it's above trend line, so fine. But if it starts going below and closes below this one, then we can say that's something not good, and then it might look for S1 in that case. KAS is also showing some pressure, but it's still okay. But if it breaks below orange, then goes for S2. Link is definitely, that tried to break above this level, it failed, but this is still okay. The head and shoulder hasn't formed, but it might if it fails to break above and break above. R4 has to be broken above for head and shoulder to be invalidated. Otherwise, it could follow. But right now, neither complete nor invalidated. So it's like in between. So we cannot call out at this moment. It's right in the middle. Not breaking above this one will not form and continue like this, and then dipping on this will complete, and that will be bad. If head and shoulder is formed and breaks this neckline, it'll look for R1 and probably worse, and that will be bad if that happens. So alts are definitely under pressure compared to BTC. But the Bitcoin dominance is showing that it's like at the pivotal, I mean, very, very kind of an inflection point kind of a situation. RNDR again back to this one, but still above, so it's okay. Closing below this one, like similar to INJ, then could go down deeper, which is so we have to be watchful. So far, okay. But yeah. Rune. Again, I'm expecting bounce, but if BTC shows weakness, this is also going to show weakness and may not go for dash line, go down and then form go to R2. So this is dash line, but if breaks below white line, then R2 is the next level. SOL try to break our R8 and but then again supported by R7. So you see it's like in middle of both. So it's contained at this moment. But if it breaks below this, then see, I think the alts are under pressure for sure. Okay. So we have to be watchful. they're more vulnerable, I think, compared to BTC at this moment. And if they come down like this and then form this one, then it could just end the bull run. But right now, we have some time. TIA not looking good. It's weak at this moment because this bound has to go at this level for it to come out. See, this is condition. This arrow is conditional. What is the condition? Condition is the price has to hit this level, the circle. That's my convention. The how I represent that this yellow circle is a condition for this green arrow to be realized or to happen, right? So it is here. It has to work harder. It has to first break up about this white line, which was, this white lines that you see. It has to break about and sit somewhere here. So about this, and because R3 is here, I would say this one. So yeah, so that's why I'm calling TI as a weak coin at this moment, but it can improve if BTC improves. So very much dependent on what BTC does from here. So that's why focus has to be BTC. We spend most of the time. The alts are definitely. So you can decide what you have to do. As I said, there are different techniques. BTC goes down slower. The shuffling of portfolio um, is a way to go. Reducing something is a way to go. Incremental, there's so many different options. But the highlight is the alts are under pressure more than BTC. And if BTC loses, then they are going to overreact. All these coins are overreact and does something silly, surprise and hurt in terms of price action, right? So if BTC starts going up, this all will feel good and the pressure will be released in that case. So that's it. I think I covered everything that I wanted to. I hope you find it useful. Let me know if any question. Thanks, everyone.